All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a concept that can kind of feel like magic at first, but trust me, it's one of the most powerful tools you can have in your programming arsenal: recursion. So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with what recursion even is. Then we'll look at a simple walking example to see it in action. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the call stack and its dangers. We'll also tackle a classic math problem with it and wrap up by talking about when you should, and maybe shouldn't, use recursion. All right, first up, let's get right into the core idea. What in the world is this technique that lets you loop without actually writing a loop? So at its heart, it's actually pretty simple. Recursion is just a programming technique where a function calls itself. That's it. Imagine you have this big, complicated problem. Recursion is all about breaking that problem down into smaller and smaller, identical pieces until you get to a piece so tiny that it's super easy to solve. Okay, so that's the theory. To make this whole thing feel a bit more real, let's look at a super simple task, taking a walk, and see how we'd code it two completely different ways. So here's the challenge. Let's say you need to write a function that just takes 3 steps. Simple, right? How would you do it with the programming tools you already have?
Well, the first thing that probably pops into your head is a for loop, right? That's the iterative path. You set up a loop, tell it to run 3 times, and inside you just print out, you take a step. Done. The loop takes care of all the repetition. It's straightforward, it's efficient, it works.
But what about the recursive way? Here's where it gets interesting. We'd make a function, let's call it walk. The first thing it does is ask, are there any steps left to take? If the answer is yes, it prints you take a step, and then, and this is the magic part, it calls itself. But this time it says, hey, now you only need to take 2 steps. It creates this chain reaction of calls, each one with a slightly smaller task. So here you have it, 2 different paths to the exact same goal. The iterative way uses a nice, tidy loop structure. The recursive way, it repeats by having the function call itself over and over. Now, for a problem this simple, you might be thinking, why bother? And you're right, the benefits are small here. But you can start to see how the recursive version can sometimes be a little cleaner, a little more elegant. Okay, so this probably brings up a big question. How does a function call itself again and again without just getting stuck in an infinite loop forever? The secret sauce here is something called the call stack. Think of it like a stack of plates. Every single time a function is called, C++ puts a new plate on top of this stack. This plate, or stack frame, holds all the info for that specific function call. So when we call walk 3, a plate goes on. Then walk 3 calls walk 2, and another plate is put on top. Then walk 1 adds another plate. Each function is basically paused, just waiting for the one on top of it to finish up. Now, this whole thing would fall apart if we couldn't stop it. The single most important part of any recursive function is what's called the base case. This is the stop sign. It's the condition that tells the function, okay, that's enough, stop calling yourself. For our walk function, the base case is when steps hit 0. When walk 0 gets called, it just stops and returns. And that's when the magic of unwinding happens. The top plate comes off, letting the one below it finish, then that one comes off, and so on all the way down. It's like dominoes falling, but in reverse. But what if you forget that stop sign? What if that base case never happens? Well, then you run into a very, very common and very nasty problem. As the quote says, you just keep adding frames to the stack. If there's no base case, the function just calls itself forever. That stack of plates just gets higher and higher and higher until, bam, you run out of memory and the whole program crashes. And that, my friends, is a Stack Overflow. It's exactly where the name of that famous website comes from. And it's why every recursive function absolutely must have an exit plan. Okay, so now we get how it works, and more importantly, how it can break. Let's look at a classic problem where recursion isn't just an option. It's a really beautiful and elegant solution. Let's talk about factorials. You might remember this from math class. The factorial of a number, say 4, is just 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. But listen to how you can define it. The factorial of 4 is just 4 times the factorial of 3. See that? The definition refers to itself. That self-referencing pattern is a huge flashing sign that says, hey, try recursion here. And when you look at the code side by side, it's so clear. The iterative version works fine, with a loop multiplying everything up. But the recursive version, it's practically a direct translation of the mathematical definition. Factorial of n is n times factorial of n minus 1. It's clean, it's concise, and that elegance is exactly why programmers get excited about recursion for problems that are structured this way. So, recursion is elegant, it's cool, but does that mean it's always the best choice? Absolutely not. In fact, there's a really big trade-off you need to think about every time. And this right here is the heart of the matter. On one hand, you get cleaner, sometimes much more readable code. That's a huge win. But on the other hand, all those function calls, all those plates on the stack, they take up memory. And managing that stack adds a bit of overhead. All of this means that recursive solutions are almost always slower and use more memory than a simple loop. So, what's the big takeaway here? It's all about knowing when to pull this tool out of your toolbox. For something simple and linear, like our walking example, just use a for loop. It's faster and better. But when you have problems that branch out or have a nested, self-similar structure, think about navigating a family tree or a file system with folders inside of folders. That's where recursion isn't just cool, it's often the most powerful and logical way to solve the problem. And this quote from the legends, Kernighan and Ritchie, really nails it. Recursion is at its best when the problem you're solving is itself recursive. A tree is the perfect example. What's a tree? It's a node that has branches, and at the end of each branch is another, smaller, tree. The data structure is recursive, so a recursive function feels incredibly natural for working with it. The code literally mirrors the problem.
So in the end, I want you to think about this question. Is recursion just a fancy coding trick, or is it a whole new way of thinking? Because really, learning recursion teaches you to look at huge, scary problems and ask, what's the absolute tiniest, simplest version of this exact same problem? If you can solve that tiny piece, that base case, you can trust the chain of recursion to build a solution all the way back up to the big problem. So, what you should take away today isn't just new syntax, it's a powerful new way to approach problem solving itself.